Hello everyone, it's Megan. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I hope you guys, really quick, I want to note, don't mind the hair. I have naturally very curly hair and I just didn't feel like messing with it today. I'm sure we all have those days, so please excuse my hair. Now in today's video, I thought it would be cool to do something a little bit different. The other day I was kind of thinking about like the different things that we use makeup for. So for example, I use blush for different things, I use highlighter for different things. And I thought this would be a really fun video for those of you who are on a budget, those of you who are traveling, and those of you who are just beginning with makeup. Because I know when I first started makeup and I saw other people do makeup, I feel like I needed like every single thing. I needed highlighters, I needed eyeshadows, I needed foundations, I needed concealers. And sometimes you can use these items for more than one purpose, if that makes sense. So I thought it would be cool to put a video together and share with you the things that I like to do and how I like to use my products in different ways. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, so I had to throw a little necklace on really quick. I felt a little bare in this area, so yeah, I had to switch it up a little bit. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. And the first product that I wanted to share with you guys how I use for multiple things is translucent powder. Now I know this sounds a little weird, but please bear with me. I use translucent powder for multiple things. So I use it for a primer sometimes. So I know that sounds crazy, but Goss talked about it in his video, and what I like to do sometimes is I will put my moisturizer on and then I will go in with a light dusting of translucent powder, and then you actually put your foundation on top of that. I know that sounds crazy, but it does help the face to look more poreless, and if you are dry, you definitely want to use a powder that doesn't have the mattifying properties. So whenever I'm really dry, I like to use Bare Minerals Original Foundation Powder, and I don't cake it on. I like to just kind of lightly dust it and buff it into the skin to where it's nice and seamless, and then I will actually go in with the foundation, and you actually need not quite as much foundation over the top of it. And it's supposed to, depending on your skin type, it is supposed to help your foundation last longer throughout the day. So what I will do, I dust on the translucent powder, put on the foundation, and then I actually set my face with the translucent powder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link his video down below so you guys can check that out. It sounds crazy, but it totally works. So definitely check that one out if you don't have any primers, especially if you're a beginner. If you have any translucent powders from like the drugstore, give that a try and see if it works. So let's get into the very next one. Alright, so the next one I want to talk about is bronzer. Now this guy is just like $3 roughly from the drugstore, and I love this stuff. So it is used for a bronzer. There's 4 little shades in here, as you can see. And one thing I use bronzer for, not only to bronze my face, but I use it for a transition shade or as eyeshadow. Now, I have done this for so many years. I'm sure many of you guys already know of this, but it is something that totally helps, especially if you don't have a bunch of eyeshadow palettes or you're beginning or whatever. Use bronzer to use as eyeshadows, especially ones like this where it has the multiple shades in it. I would use this in my crease, and then I would use this to deepen up the outer V, and then this for like an inner highlight or something like that. But it has multiple purposes, and it has little flecks of shimmer or something in it, so it could totally double as an eyeshadow. So that's another one that I wanted to show you guys the multiple uses for. Alright, so the next one I want to talk about is concealer. So I'm sure you guys probably know of this as well, but concealer, I use it to highlight. So if you don't have a highlighter, I use it to highlight underneath my eyes, different areas of my face. And the one big thing that I use this for other than concealer is eyelid primer. Now, I am not a huge fan of eyelid primer because I feel like this does pretty much the same thing, and I get my money's worth, and it's just kind of one of those products that it it just doubles as both. It hides those little veins in the eyes, it makes the eyelid kind of like flawless, and it really helps that eyeshadow to adhere to your eyelid. So this is another good trick that I like to use. And this next one is probably my favorite of all of the makeup sort of tricks that I use, and that is a highlighter. Now, this one is the Flower Shimmer and Strobe palette from Walmart. You get 3 different shades. You get a gold, you get a pink, you get a light off pink sort of white color. It's like $12. I talk about it all the time. It is my holy grail, hands down, favorite highlighter of the drugstore of all time. So what I like to do is I will use this color right here, not only to highlight, but in my inner corner, and I will also use it for the brow bone, and I use it as an eyeshadow. So that's the big thing that I use it for. So if I'm doing like a natural sort of day or something like that, or I really want my eyeshadow to pop and my lightest eyeshadow just isn't doing the trick, I actually will take this shade right here and pop it right in the very middle of the eyelid, and it just makes my eyeshadow pop. It gives it so much definition. And sometimes what I do, I will go in with this bronzer, do a transition shade, deepen up the crease, and then I will just use this as a eyeshadow. And another thing I like to use it for is if my lipstick needs like a little something else, I will actually put one of these colors right in the center, and it will just give that lipstick a shimmery look to it. So it's absolutely beautiful. I use this for multiple things. Highly recommend it. Check it out if you haven't. Next one I want to talk about is blush. Now, this is just a couple dollars from the drugstore. It's one of my favorites, but obviously you use blush to kind of add a natural sort of flush to the cheeks after you apply your foundation, etc. But one thing I like to use blush for is eyeshadow. So I just did this in my last video where I applied my blush to the as a transition shade. I use it with blushes all the time, especially if one of my eyeshadow palettes is like lacking in a certain bright color. There are so many different blush colors available at the drugstore. And like I said, eyeshadow palettes and makeup can be expensive. So blush is a really fun thing that I like to use in my to incorporate in my eyeshadow looks if I don't have that color. So this is definitely another good little trick that I like to use. This next one is kind of different. I have seen some people do it, but I don't think it's quite as common. So I want to talk about lipstick. Now, this is just a little chapstick sort of thing. I don't have my actual lipstick on me in my kit right now. It's downstairs and I don't feel like rummaging through it. But anyways, what I like to use lipstick, chapstick, whatever, for, not a liquid lipstick, but like a lipstick or even like a chapstick like this. Obviously for your lips, but I've seen multiple people do this and I use it as a blush sometimes. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but it is something, it's very comparable to like a cream sort of blush. So how you would kind of, what I like to do is I will actually dot it on, not with this, but I dot on the lipstick and then I will take a beauty blender or a sponge and just kind of pat that into the skin, and it gives it such a beautiful natural sort of look to the cheeks. And usually lipsticks have a tad bit of shimmer to it, and it just looks so like youthful and beautiful. And this is something that I really like to do if my blushes are lacking or if I'm traveling or anything like that. So I just dot it on, blend it in, and then sometimes I will just go over with like a translucent powder to set it in place. So if I'm oily one day or whatever, I will just set it in place and it works perfectly. All right, next thing that I want to talk about is mascara. Obviously we all know what mascara is used for, but one thing that I do like to use my mascara for, now this is, again, my brown mascara is in my kit downstairs, and I usually don't use brown mascara unless I'm like traveling or I want to do something light, but I will use a brown mascara to actually use as a brow sort of tint, and it works so well. Now, there's so many brow products available out there and they can get kind of pricey. Again, makeup is expensive, it's an investment, but again, this is really great if you're a beginner, if you're traveling, etc. So I think it's L'Oreal False Lashes or something. It's in a gold tube. I'll try to leave a picture up here. but I use that. It has like these kind of, they're not rubber bristles, they're just like the regular sort of I don't know, hairy sort of bristles. I don't know how to explain it, but it is a brown mascara, and I will actually use it to deepen up all of my brows, and it works so beautifully. It's perfect for on the go, so definitely another trick that I wanted to share with you guys. All right, and the next one is brow pencil. So this obviously is used for your brows, but I've seen many people do this, and I like to do it, especially when I am traveling. I like to use it as an eyeliner. Or if it's not quite deep enough, I will use it to actually smudge to deepen up that crease. So this is another thing that I like to do. And the very last one that I have for you guys, I'm sure you have seen as well, but I thought it would be fun to throw into this video, is using mascara as an eyeliner. Now what I do when I'm traveling, I like to take a brush. Now you can get anything from like at the drugstore. Elf has pretty good brushes for like a couple dollars, and you have to make sure that it is an eyeliner brush. But what I will do is I will actually dip it into the bristles, get some of that black product off, and then I will actually go in right above the lash line and try to do a wing, and it actually works superbly. So depending on what kind of mascara you use, it would probably be better to use one that's not quite as thick or clumpy, if that makes sense. But using mascara as an eyeliner is an awesome trick. All right guys, and that is all I have for you today. I thought it would be a super fun video, and you know, sometimes, you know, if you're on a budget, especially, like I have 2 kids, so I can't always buy makeup like I would like to, but doing these things really helps me to conserve my makeup. It helps me to just have the multiple uses for makeup is awesome. And the fun thing is that makeup has no rules, so you can pretty much, as long as you have an open mind, you can pretty much do whatever you want with makeup. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any tricks, leave them in the comments down below. Share them with me and fellow subscribers. I would really love to hear what you guys use your makeup for. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!